It is hard to imagine that anyone in the 21st century would be living a life like one in George Orwell's 1984's Oceania. However, few nations still exist where people are subjected to similar lifestyles as those in 1984. In this video, we will analyze the dictatorial regime in Democratic People's Republic of Korea, also known as North Korea, and compare it to the regime of George Orwell's dystopian novel. North Korea is a country that everyone has heard of before. With its extreme dictatorial practices of constant oppression, limited civil rights, and the 5 years election with only one candidate, it becomes a real-life demonstration of the novel 1984. We will look into the parallels of North Korea, headed by their supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, and 1984's Oceania, headed by Big Brother. The first thing that both 1984 and North Korea have in common is propaganda. In the novel 1984, the Ministry of Truth lets out propaganda as one of the primary ways to control people's minds. As quoted in the novel, supply the citizens of Oceania with newspapers, films, textbooks, telescreen programs, plays, novels, with every conceivable type of information, instruction, or entertainment. All these propaganda are used to insert fear and obedience into the minds of citizens, making them believe that this is how they must and should live. Similarly, North Korea uses propaganda to not only brainwash citizens and make them obey the law, but to also stimulate a utopia to the rest of the world. Along with using all media communication forms as ones in the novel 1984, the government of Korea uses propaganda tactics in order to give an outer look of a utopian society to everyone but their citizens, when in reality it is a dystopian place.
For North Korean television viewers, there was little doubt of these soldiers' excitement for their mission and enthusiasm for their leader Kim Jong-un. The newsreader says, "We admire the great leader who shows so much love to us and the officers and soldiers who are stationed at our border." It's the sort of propaganda video that North Korean viewers are familiar with, but for the rest of the world, it's a surreal scene.
Not only do governments in both societies brainwash citizens, but they make sure that no other beliefs are in exposure. In the novel 1984, it is illegal to think. There is top police watching citizens in the streets through cameras, making announcements, using children as spies, and monitoring phone conversations in order to eliminate thoughts. Likewise, North Korea bans many media outlets and books that interfere with their beliefs. Some people outside the country parachute Bibles inside North Korea. The police is around the borders watching out for any leaks and are ready to punish anyone that is related to it. Which brings me to my next point: punishment. If one goes against the law in the 1984 society, the punishment was not only beating, but many other methods. One of them was to let out starving rats at the individuals that will eat the humans alive. The book states, "When I press this other lever, the door of the cage will slide up. These starving brutes will shoot out of it like bullets. Have you ever seen a rat leap through the air? They will leap through onto your face and bore straight into it. Sometimes they attack the eyes first. Sometimes they burrow through the cheeks and devour the tongue." North Korean prisoners don't have it any better. Prisoners had a torture method called the pigeon, where they were beaten at the chest until they vomited blood. These illustrations were drawn by a former prisoner explaining the methods that were used to torture prisoners both mentally and physically in the North Korean prisoner camps. It is scary how this real-world regime has almost identical tactics to gain and maintain power over the populace as ones in the novel 1984. This brings about a significant question. Was 1984 the constitution for North Korea?